Hello.
Guys, please treat Mr. Ritchie as you treat me, which most of the time is pretty darn good in here. So please just be your kind selves to him. The assignment he gives you does count as an assignment. It's not a freebie. Yes? Guys, there's a lot of chaos today. I'm sorry, I know. Alright, guys, be great. Mr. Ritchie is trying to make my computer unfreeze so he can start his PowerPoint.
Hello, everyone.
You not need your tablets, so you can put those away.
Yes, you can put everything away. I'm going to pretty much be talking a little bit at you and asking you to respond. So most of this class is going to be discussion. So if you could just take one, pass it back, make sure they get throughout the room. Please and thank you. Okay. All right, just waiting for this to load up.
Sorry, what's my computer?
No problem. Ooh, look at that. We'll have a good weekend. It's a nice long weekend. No? It's a 4-day weekend. How could you know? Mr. Ritchie. Here we go. Cool. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys, Liam, about imagery and how it plays into literature. And essentially, this is going to be important for what you're reading tonight. Because, unbeknownst to you, there's actually a lot of naughty bits hidden in the story you're reading. But if you're not able to imagine or imagery for it, it's going to pretty much fall flat, and you'll be like, why am I reading this? What's the point? So, our objectives for today are just one. By the end of the period, you'll recognize the impact of imagery on the reader, namely you. But to start us out, I figured we'd watch a little video. Hopefully the speakers work. No, I gotta plug them in?
Yeah.
No problem.
I love you too.
The moment that comes for everyone. Has come for Christmas.
You die, Chris.
If heaven is a place where you know only joy.
Boy, screwed up. The dog heaven. You're creating an entire world here from your imagination, from anything you want.
Where you feel no more fear.
I'm gonna drown. You can't. You're already dead.
And anything you can imagine is real.
It's your world.
Could you let go of the love you left behind?
I need Annie. That'll change in time. Time? Does not exist here. And whatever it brings, don't gonna make me need Annie any less.
And how far would you go?
Never see.
I'm the soulmate to get it back.
I can find her.
You're right. Love, you're strong. You just kept me there.
Robin Williams.
It's not about understanding. It's about not giving up.
Cuba Gooding Jr. You find. You can do it. I believe in you. Annabella Shiora.
I'm still here, babe. I still exist.
What dreams may come.
Let's see, a good 20 years? Almost, I believe. It came out in 97, I think. Yeah, I was in high school. Pretty old. Not gonna lie to you. But it's for today. So, what did you notice about the trailer? Awesome. Do I have any volunteers? Anyone? What's up, James? Princess Diana. Fair enough. What did you notice about the colors in the trailer? Beautiful. Good. Lots of them. Very colorful, right? You might have noticed they were kind of bright as well, so they jumped out the screen at you. And they were lush. So what do you think the mood of the movie is? All right. Here's what I want you guys to do whenever I ask a question from now on. Raise your left hand if you have a question. Raise your right hand if you have a comment. Everyone must raise their hand. So, hands up. Come on, folks, seriously. Left or right? Got to pick one. Got to have your hands up.
Left is what?
Left, you have a question. Right, you have a comment. Left hand. James, what's your question? Right hand, you're right. That's my left. Robin Williams? Or Cuba Gooding Jr.? Or the other gentleman. What about him? He plays an angel, actually. Like a guy of the afterlife. Go ahead. Fair observation. I did not really make that connection. Zoe.
We kind of went back and forth because it was like the dude and the chick were like doing something with the hose, and then the car came at him, and then it was like back and forth.
So, yes, though the mood goes up and down, back and forth, it's dynamic. Yes. Ah. So you didn't really understand the connection. Okay. What's that? You got nothing? Not even a comment? Nothing for me? Not yet. I'm going to give you the actual definition of what is imagery. Of course, literarydevices.com. Yes, there's an actual site for that. And I want you to actually write this down because you're... And everyone should be writing on the back of their graphic organizers, yes. Go ahead and write on the back of your graphic organizers. Imagery is the use of figurative language to represent objects, actions, and ideas in such a way that it appeals to our physical senses. And I'll give you a minute to write that down.
Wait, Mr. Ross, why is this upside down? Versus...
Because you're turning it over. It doesn't really matter how you write on it. Just go ahead and write it down. Okay, I'll give you about another minute or so. Here's the other part of imagery that you want to be aware of. Imagery involves the whole body. So it's not just things that you see. It conveys your feelings like smell or our touch, our taste. So anything that involves that is considered imagery. So where you might think of imagery as flowery language like roses are red and violets are blue or those types of things, you can actually do it to where it appeals to your sense of taste. Like, let's see. That person looks like they taste like salty garbage. See? Pretty gross. But it puts an image in your mind of that person. You've never seen them before, but you can think of someone who kind of represents that. Here's my source. Here's the other part of imagery. So what I have for you guys is basically I will be reading a poem by Jimmy Santiago Baca. It's called Ancestor. It's a book, Immigrants in Our Own Land. Here's what I want you to do. I'd like for you to close your eyes, seriously. Go ahead and close your eyes and listen carefully and pay attention to the images that form in your mind. It's all right. No one's going to steal your pencil or your paper. Go ahead and close your eyes.
Mister, I'm gonna fall asleep.
Mr. Ritchie, and no, you won't, Michael. You got better self-control than that. All right. Everyone should have their eyes closed. I shouldn't see anyone. Still waiting.
Thomas is like, oh, Bradley closed my eyes.
Yeah, that works.
Like, that's my invitation.
All right. Here we go.
It was a time when they were afraid of him. My father, a bear man, a gypsy, a horse. With broken knees, no one would shoot. Then again, he was like the orange tree, and young women plucked from him sweet fruit. To meet him, you must be in the right place. Even his sons and daughter, we wondered, where was Papa now, and what was he doing? He held the mystique of travelers that passed your backyard and disappeared to the trees. Then, when you follow, you find nothing. Not a stir, not a twig displaced from its burrow, and then he would appear one night, half covered in shadows and half in light. His voice quiet, absorbing our unspoken thoughts. When his hands lay on the table at breakfast, they were hands that had not fixed our crumbling home. Hands that had not taken us into them, and fingers that did not gently rub along our lips. They were hands of the gypsy that filled our home with love and safety for a moment. With all the shambles of boards and empty stomachs, they filled us because of the love in them. Beyond the ordinary love, beyond the coordinated life, beyond the sponging of broken hearts, came the untimely word, the falling smile, the quiet fear, that made us grow up quick and romantic. Papa gave us something. When we talked from work, my 14-year-old sister worked, my brother and I running like we would pause, because we had a Papa who no one could catch. He spoke when he spoke and bragged and drank. He'd brag about us. He didn't say we were smart, nor did he say we were strong and were going to be rich one someday. He said we were good. He held us up to the world for it to see. 3 children that were good, who understood love in a quiet way, who owned nothing but callous hands and true freedom. And that is how he made us. He offered us to the wind, to the mountains, to the skies of autumn and spring. He said, "Here are my children, care for them." And he left me, going somewhere like a child with a warrior's heart. Nothing could stop him. My grandmother would look at him for a long time, and then she would say nothing. He chose to remain silent, praying each night, guiding down like a root in the heart of the earth, touching sunlight and rains to her ancient breath. And I am the blossom of many nights, the trifold blossom. My sister is as she is. My brother is as he is. and I am as I am. Through sacred ceremony of living, daily living, arose three distinct hopes, three loves, out of the long-felt nights and days of yesterday.
You can open your eyes now. So, what did you see? Now, don't tell me. Go ahead and open your eyes and talk to your four closest people to you about what you saw.
Oh yeah. My father, their manager too.
I can show you.
It's like
Crumbling house.
You can say nothing, man. It's a valid response. Did you not see anything? You read what you see.
I see the colors and stuff. The place it takes place.
So you see that? So why doesn't that apply when you read poetry?
Because
You don't know? What about you, Joshua? Nothing? I'll come back. How about yourself, Thomas? What did you see?
saw everything.
The whole thing?
Yeah, like everything. Just gave me a little picture pretty much.
What popped out to you?
Nothing.
Nothing? It just
Popped out.
just kind of went by, kind of mellow? Okay.
It was more like
Okay, no. Not getting my
So Sheila, I heard you say that you saw nothing. Why is that? You know what I was going to ask.
I was trying to pay attention, but I was just like going in one ear out. I saw, well, I
Heard or saw?
heard them say a horse
Yeah.
and a lady picking off an orange tree. And after that,
After that, you don't know? You don't see how that relates to anything? Okay, it's all right. Be right.
my head is, I'm so tired.
Sorry to hear that.
Hey, can I have a piece of gum? I see you chewing.
Okay, I'm going to bring us back together. So here's what I'd like you to do. On the back of your graphic organizer, write any images that you saw in your mind. Whatever you saw. If you don't feel like writing it, draw it. I will accept a drawing. Yes, absolutely. And I'll give you about 5 minutes to do that on your own.
Wait, Mr. Back again?
Mr. Ritchie, yes. See anything? Oh, see? So what did you... Yeah, you can go ahead and talk.
I said a tree with orange over it.
Yeah. All means. Whatever you saw, you can draw it, you can write it. To me, it's more important that you had an image in your mind.
I had a few images.
That's great. That means this will be very easy for you. This
Actually,
book.
the one line, they were the hands that are not fixed or fumbling, obviously kind of brought back a memory from when I was young.
There we go. Keep that in mind. I will call on you and when we start our whole class discussion, all right? I like that. Mr. Ritchie. What's that? It's okay. It's all right. We'll actually be moving on to that side later, but you can draw on the back of the graphic organizer. So. What'd you draw, looking? Why is he angry?
Because he described him as like the poor and stuff, and usually they're like really violent animals.
Fair enough. All right, that makes sense. So write it. It doesn't. Well, you didn't fall asleep, but.
I did fall asleep, I swear.
Okay.
It's like a fruit.
You take attendance?
Yeah, I forgot something.
Okay, no problem. What's drawn?
Because somewhere in here it says it's not the hands that touch my lips or something.
Mm-hmm.
Did not jump.
Yeah, go ahead and underline it. So, no problem.
Is this where you are?
Yeah, going a little bit forward. It's just playing the animation. I gotcha. No problem. It's part of the job.
Like when my friends were like, let's go eat Africa.
Okay, so I'm going to bring us back together again and share with you guys what I saw when I read the poem. So, if you want to look at the second page of the handout I gave you, it actually has the poem on it. Right, yes, that is a poem. See, poems don't have to rhyme. Not at all. It's a part of the poetic form. So, here are some of the images this is the passage I chose. And this is the image I saw. So, the passage is, he hailed the mystique of travelers that passed your backyard and disappeared in the trees. Then, when you follow, you find nothing. Not a stir, not a twig displaced from its burrow. What I saw was a dirt-covered path banked on all sides by trees and bushes, a wild footpath where kids play. Even though that's not mentioned in the poem explicitly, that's what I saw in my mind. And it's important to be able, again, to create images for yourself when you're reading. Otherwise, You're just looking at words on a paper. It becomes very boring and you end up not reading at all. So, I've got a small section for you guys. And I'd like for you to respond to it. So, as you read this, what images pop into your mind? Anybody want to take a stab at it? Chair?
What we saw?
Yes, what you saw from this passage. How about Liam? Still reading? Sorry, I didn't mean to rush you. Michael?
I saw the beginning scene from The Lion King,
Can you explain a little more?
where it's like the monkey dude. He was
Rafik?
yeah, he was holding.
Rafiki. Not the baby. Baby symbol. Okay. But you really quite told me why you saw it. How does this relate back to it?
He held us up from the sea.
Ah, there we go. Thank you. I was not making that connection. But that's not for this passage. That's just something you saw from the poem. That works too.
No, that's not for the whole thing. That's what
Like what? Just one section of it?
that's what I saw from that.
From this?
Yeah. Because like the skies of autumn and spring and stuff.
Oh,
It's
see?
like the mountain there.
There you go. Anyone else? Yes.
One kind of thing that brought back something was I saw the line, they were the hands that are not fixed at a crumbling house.
Ah.
And so it kind of like, it brought back a little something from like one of my older homes, apartment, and it kind of like, it wasn't maintained very well, it was kind of secondhand, and it like really wasn't treated the way it like should be. So it kind of brought back like a little nostalgia almost.
Ah, nostalgia. So, imagery can activate memories, is basically another thing, right? That's great. I really like that. Thank you for sharing. So, what do you think the mood of the poem is all the way around? If you had to share, how do the images help create the mood for the poem? You don't have to answer right now, just have that in the back of your brain. So, some of you have already gone to this, but what I'd like you to do is please follow the instructions on your graphic organizer. If you want to turn that over and take a look. So what you'll basically be doing is going through the poem by yourself and looking for sections that, again, give you strong imagery. And then you'll be writing it on the other side, or you can draw me a picture again of what you saw related to the imagery. Go ahead and get started. And this is for you to work by yourself. So this time you're working on your own. Because you guys like to talk to each other a lot. Womp womp. Yeah. So by yourselves, just kind of on your own. So what do you got?
About that.
Oh, so you have your instructions on the front of the paper. So here's what I want you to do. It's essentially go through the poem and look for passages or images that are strong to you. So you'll write them on this side and then draw them or write your response to them on that side. What about you, Angel? Are you confused at all, or just not feeling the poem?
I'm just seeing the example right now.
Yeah. All right.
Yes, sir.
Hey, film it. So what does that say? What's the impact?
Are these slaves?
No.
It said,
This I want to hear.
it said,
Michael,
spoke
let's see what's further about this.
My sister 14 cotton fields. My brother and I running like deer. We were paused because we had a papa no one could catch, who spoke when he spoke and bragged in vain. He bragged about us. He did not say we were smart. He said we were strong and we were about to be rich someday. He said we were good. He held us up to the world for it to see. These are our slaves.
So you think they're slaves because they work in cotton fields and
And her dad, she just said my dad is hard to get.
okay. I think it's more of he's like a gypsy. In other words, he just shows up for a little while and then he leaves. A gypsy? Gypsies are basically nomadic people, so they wander around from place to place, and usually they're con artists. They basically steal from people, but they do it in a very clever way. So gypsies might be like fortune tellers or people who might sell you a charm or things like that. But I can definitely see how you might have seen them as like slaves working in the field
Yeah.
because they definitely don't have a lot of freedom. So yeah, what happens with rural communities is if you're not in school, you're working, so you're out in the field. So yeah, I guess in a way, but you're very attached to family duties. I wouldn't say you were a slave, but I'd say you very much serve your community.
I thought it.
It's all right. Well, that's why we have it written down so you can go back through and be like, that's what that says. So, what's the impact? What do you guys got going?
No one's. I don't know. I'm never put no one's too hurt.
So, what's with the group work? What's going on? Yeah. I like that. Strong, tall man. That's one. That's cool. See, I always saw him as kind of short with big, like seriously, big meaty hands and going bald on top. Can you what? Let me see. I think Miss Willick sent someone out, so. You got no images for me, John? Zoe? What's going on? You got those? All right.
Like third in line. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. You're like third in line.
That'll work.
I know.
A lot of small black. Man. A soda? That does it for you? I'm gonna give you guys like 2 more minutes and then we are moving on. Nice costume. No, that was worth looking up for, honestly. I'd do the same thing. Okay, so I want you guys to wrap up your last thoughts, your last images. And I want to share with you a little bit about Jimmy. This is the guy who wrote the poem. He has strong connections to the Southwest, grew up there. He actually does a lot of writing. Has anyone ever seen the movie Blood In, Blood Out?
Yeah, I did.
He wrote it. That's the guy who wrote it. This is the actual gentleman. And it's partially based on his life, partially based on other experiences he had. But yes, went to prison, did some real time, actually found a way out through poetry and writing. Now he gets paid ridiculous amounts of money to show up places, speak his mind, and then go. I kid you not. He was at a conference that I went to not too long ago. Didn't take any notes, got up on stage, said exactly what was on his mind, talked about feminism, what was needed in the classroom, and we all enjoyed it very much. He's a great guy. He likes to cuss a lot, too. Like, a lot.
That's my kind.
I'm trying to.
Like, ridiculous amounts. But he gets to do that because he's done the writing, he has the credibility. And here's a picture of me with him. Yeah. You can hardly see that weird thing on my ear. Great guy. So, here's what I'd like you to do for the pretty much last thing for my little lesson with you guys. And thank you so much for paying attention. So, on, again, the back of your graphic organizer, if you still have space, I'd like for you to write a few sentences about imagery and how it impacts the reader. And what you got out of it. So, the reader... Oh, you're right. So you proofread things, still miss it. One or a few sentences. Just write a sentence, please. Thank you. On imagery. And how it impacts and affects the reader. No, you don't have to use imagery. Just say how it affects you. That's it. The reason, again, why this is important is because what you got tonight is very dependent on imagery and you understanding what you see when you read it. There's actually a sex scene, kid you not, and then murder. And if you're reading too fast, you're going to read right over it and you won't even see it. There's also something else hidden in there, but I'll ask you about that tomorrow. So I've already given you 2 things that are definitely in the couple of stories that you're supposed to be reading, or that you have read. So I'll get... Yes, it is. It's about to die a very ugly death. That's okay. We'll let it die. It's all right. See? It happens. Exact. First world. Yep. Don't worry. It's not going anywhere. The only person that's going to see it is another teacher. That's it. Yeah. Because that won't get me fired. Oh! You want to share? Kidding.
Never flip your pencil.
So since you guys were so great, I have one last thing for you. Maybe tomorrow.
what Mr. It's Halloween.
Mr. Ritchie.
Sorry.
Thank you. And that doesn't matter. Technically, it's my birthday, so I got no candy. I came to work today. It's a normal day.
Happy birthday.
Don't worry about it. But here, I got something for you. It's random nonsense. And when I say it's random nonsense, it is completely random.
The meeting will come to order. The Legion of Doom is now in session. In a short while, the Swivl. Yes, Brainiac.
I was wondering, Luthor, if I could perhaps get a pair
What we need are a few items to help us in our perfect plan to stop the Super Friends.
Cheetah, you're afraid to show claws. Brainiac, your mind games are deadly. You're made of straw. What more do you need?
How about utility belt? What? Batman and Robin, Subtle and Pretty, 1, 2. Utility belt. Bizarro will crush the Silver Friends. Crush there.
I want a magic.
Oh, enough of this. What do I look like? Santa Claus? We're wasting time. Bring Republic and Super Friends into our
Excuse me.
Brainiac, what is it?
Look, I just want some pants. A decent pair of pants. Solomon Grundy won't pants too.
Now, you may not remember anything I've said today, but you will remember that.
Mister, that was my show.
Me too. So, it's us friends.
Oh.
I'll turn you back over to Natalie. Excuse me, Mrs. Blake.
Guys, if you could pass this paper up so Mr. Ritchie can look over those. And if you could take out your copies of one whole night that I passed out last class, please, please, please. You don't have it? And you know what? I forgot my copies up in my office.
Need me to get them?
Where are we?